Welcome to ARW. I'm Harold, and if you've been keeping up with my casting flywheels, you know that Brian Block has suggested that what my mold needs is ventilation. He said the reason I got an imperfect spoke right there is because I didn't have ventilation. And Brian's a smart guy, so I'm going to listen to a suggestion. What I did, I took this guy over to the mill, took a round nose end mill, and I made a vent on each side of it. So now it's got ventilation, okay? And also, to make it easier for me, because I wasn't having quite enough metal in there to, you know, when it gets cold or shrinking, I needed more metal to feed back down, so I made the hole that I pour the ZAMAK, that's Z-A-M-A-K, ZAMAK into. And you get ZAMAK from Rotometals, R-O-T-O-M-E-T-A-L. Anyway, today we're going to compare cold molds with vents and cold molds without vents. I've got this aluminum mold here. We're going to make some lead cylinders with it, and it opens up like that. And you can see there's no ventilation, no vents on this thing. It's just the way it is, okay? So I know from the past experience, when I pour the lead in here, if whatever's overflows on the top and whatever goes on the cylinders is going to look like it came out of the refrigerator, out of the freezer. It's going to be kind of frosted up. But I'm going to let you guys see that, because there's nothing like seeing for yourself. Alright? Now then, I've got the ZAMAK heating up there in that Hot Shot 360. I've got the lead for this heating up in this Lee bottom pour pot. Now if you've never seen one of these, this little thing here lifts up and lets the pure clean lead pour out of the bottom, and while all the junk and crud floats on the top. This is what we're going to use to make the lead cylinders. So it'll be a little bit before either one of these gets, you know, through melting the metal. So I'm going to let you guys sleep until that's done. Now this guy's ready first. You can see the little pile of lead dripping out of the bottom, building up there. I'm going to pick that little pile of lead up, throw it back inside, and I don't really need gloves for this. They get in my way. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this guy right here. I'm going to lift up this bottom. It leaks a little bit nowadays. Alright, now you watch as this cools off. I wish the thing would stop leaking so much. But as you notice, it's starting to look kind of frosty looking, kind of chilled. That burned that thing. It's bouncing all over me. Here's a Randy Richard knocker. It'll do the job. There. Now I've cut loose that little bit of lead there. Drop it back in there, because the way it's leaking, I'm going to need it. Alright, so let's take a look at what we get out of here. And I'm going to just drop the stuff out on the floor, I guess. That, and alright, there went the little lead cylinders. These gloves don't help you pick nothing up. There. Alright, so these cylinders, here's one here, that he didn't form all the way at all. This guy's looking imperfect and frosted. This guy come out much better than I'd expected. And this one here, if you look at this one right here, you can see a wrinkle right around the middle of it there, right near the end. It's been affected by the cold. Let me see if I can get this other one. All right, here it is here, and it's hot, so I'm going to try to roll it over without burning myself. But you can see, if you look closely at it, it's got wrinkles in the side. Got a wrinkle around the center of it. It's not a perfect little cylinder. It's easier to keep up with them like that. Now, out of all these little cylinders I've got here, there's quite a lot of perfection there, except for this one right here. Let me see if I can bring him around. You see the dent in the side of it? That's from going into a cold mold. So these kind of imperfections will go away once that mold hits the right temperature. Okay, so the ZAMAK is melted. I'll bring it over here, pour it in this hole, hopefully rapidly enough to move it around good. Okay, now that'll be enough metal to get sucked back down. I'm just going to set this hot metal on the ground. Well, it appears like Brian was right and I was wrong. I hate to say that. Well, that really galls me a lot, but there you are. There's no wrinkle on there that I can see yet. Let me get it cooled down enough to get it completely out of there, and we'll see if there's any wrinkles anywhere. Alright, so I got it out finally. That screwdriver damage on my thumb, but the thing looks pretty darn good. I need to do a lot of remachining here, and the thing I need to do is to put a hole in 3 places in that mold so that I can have pins to push this guy out. That would make it much better. Even though I've put screws in to separate them, get one side loose, it still leaves me with a problem of the darn thing getting stuck in there. Now, I did cut a little draft angle into this other piece, so that's why it comes out so much easier. Nevertheless, I'm going to have to do more machining, but Brian was right, I needed some vent. So I guess I'll have to just eat that, and we'll go see what Bubba's doing. Maybe Bubba's messing up worse than me. Seems like down there where Bubba lives, that drinking's kind of a sport, you know, kind of like the bowl games and stuff like that. And so, you know, the local sheriff there, he decided he'd catch him a few drunks, and he parks just a little ways down the street from the local bar. In a little bit, here comes Bubba, you know. He stumbles all around the parking lot, looks around a bit, stumbles over, digs all in his pockets, and after a while he comes out with a set of keys. He stands there and looks at them a bit, and he goes up and he tries to poke them into one car, and they don't fit. He stumbles over to another car and tries to poke it in there, and they don't fit. Finally, he gets down the car and it fits the door, and he opens the door of it and sort of falls in the seat. So a couple of folks come out and drive off, you know, while he's doing that. So in a little bit, he sits up in the seat a little bit, and he's got the door shut. He sits there for a while. A couple more cars leave, you know. And he turns on the key and he's got his windshield wipers going there, and it hadn't rained in days, and sheriff sitting back, yeah, he knows he's got him one now, and so by the time Bubba gets around to getting the car started up and getting his lights on and the wipers off and all this, everybody else is gone. Bubba backs up in the parking lot, real slow. Comes forward real slow out on the road, and he's driving, really slow down the road, straight, kind of concentrating like. Sheriff comes up there with his lights on, whips in front of Bubba, and stops, gets out, and says, "All right, boy, get out of that car. I want you blowing this here breathalyzer." So Bubba got out, and he blows in the breathalyzer. It reads 0, no alcohol. Sheriff says, "All right, get in the back of my car. I'm going to take you down to the station. Just get a good breathalyzer. This here's got to be broke." Bubba says, "No." He says, "I doubt it." He says, "Actually," he says, "tonight I'm the designated decoy."